Well, hello, that's me again. Today is October 4th. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Oh, thank God it's Friday. Albeit with the current situation, who knows? Do we even have weekends anymore? At least for people like me who do the geopolitical analysis. What you saw in the beginning, obviously, is yet another delivery of the, but this time I believe it's a DAB 1500. And you can see yourself immediately the detonation on the sides of the one of the storages of the ammo depots of Ukraine. But let's start with, first let's cover the issue with Iran and Israel, obviously. And if you didn't see it, we just did live podcast with Anya, Larry, and me. We did podcast and we spoke about Israel's situation, which is not very good. But I want to correct one, not correct, it's really not correction. It's all true. When I was speaking yesterday or whatever, before yesterday, about the situation with the pathetic performance of the Israeli air defense. And here is the thing which was missed, and which is total disinformation. As you can see yourself, the Wall Street was talking about all those super pooper, completely failed air defense systems of Israel. And look what they write here. Arrow 3, the heads as it's known in Israel, they talk about that it's a range of 1,491 miles of this air defense missile. No, it is not. It's complete garbage. Its range is practically the same as the S-300 PMU-2. It's the same class of the missiles. It's just that Arrow 3 sucks compared to, for example, S-300 PMU-2. And actually, what the range here means not the range of the missile, that it just merely can intercept vehicles or ballistic missiles which are launched from this distance. The reality, obviously, absolutely incorrect, and this is not the only thing which continues to provide this garbage and misinformation. Here is, for example, they steal 1990s picture of the, well, S-300 PMU-2 from the one of the websites of the Russian Defense Ministry, defense contractors, Almaz-Antey specifically, and you see here they say that it's the range 2,400 kilometers or whatever it was, 1,500 miles. It is not. It is merely, for some reason, obviously showing Russian air defense complex. It's actually the range of the missiles or the targets which can intercept, because the longer the ballistic range, actually, the higher the velocities, and you know what, the more difficult it's to calculate proper trajectories and things of this nature. So it is all crap. It's the real range of them of about, between probably on this particular case maybe 100 miles at the most. So now that we took this basically out of the way, let's take a look what we have in terms of the situation with response of Iran. Al Jazeera reports. Obviously, you can see all kinds of garbage, in the Western media which try to misinterpret it. No, there's no misinterpretation. And so when Biden talks about all these things, and United States, as you already know, it is run by Israelis in the foreign policy department, and so the United States is not really sovereign country in this respect. So it's basically the military arm of Israel. So Iran message sent to the U.S. via Qatar seems to be a response to what U.S. President Joe Biden said yesterday. So, and they talk about this, which is absolutely true, and they are not bluffing. The Iranian message could be interpreted in one of two ways. It could mean we don't want you to do anything, we are trying to deter that, or it could be a warning, you take actions and our response is going to be even bigger. I don't understand why they, for some reason, put these two things separately, which are completely not contradicting each other. It is, Iran is not interested in the big war, and they already specifically stated that was the response. We don't do after that anything if you don't do anything. It's as simple as that. And of course, Israel now is in the pickle because it was purely humiliated. We now have the some photos, so to speak. This is from Nevatim, and again, Nevatim is a huge air base. You can see yourself some hangars with the at where the F-35s used to be stored. So, but yeah, Iran knows what is doing, and they have pretty decent targeting, as you can see yourself. In fact, it's a damn good targeting. So, but yeah, these are some of the hits which have been, conducted on the Nevatim base, and yeah, it's pretty bad for them, for Israelis. So, and now we have the other things which are happening, because obviously if you take a look at the clashes between Hezbollah and Israeli Defense Force, they're not doing that well, Israelis. And look at this. And even, again, Al Jazeera, well, people say, oh, yeah, it's Iranian and it might misinterpret things. Well, maybe, yeah, make no mistake. I don't take most of the mainstream media, and Al Jazeera is a mainstream media. It's Qatari, I believe. So, but still, they are absolutely correct in reporting this, that Israel is not making gains it expected. I don't know who expected those gains. Evidently, militarily, the planning organizations of Bidam Israel or NATO and the United States, they are not that good at all. I mean, they are really militarily are not second rate. Whatever they expected, whatever they planned, well, you know what, as Mike Tyson said it, everybody has a plan until you get hit into face, so there we go. What we're hearing is that the Israelis have attempted to enter some village, and they have faced still a stiff resistance from Hezbollah fighters who say they have been confronted them, and they have used explosive devices. They claim that Israeli soldiers have had casualties, and their helicopters are currently in the south trying to evacuate those soldiers. Well, I can tell you one thing, videos are there, and you can see immediately. So, what is this all about? Yeah, you can see yourself obliteration of one of the formations allegedly of the special forces of IDF, but they are Israelis. You can see that, and they just one hit by the TOW tank guided missile, the knockoff by Iran, and Hezbollah has it. And boy, this is not nice looking video. So I'm just telling you, I'm not going to post it here because obviously otherwise I will be banned by YouTube. But yeah, it's out there everywhere pretty much, so you can take a look at it. And if this is the way the special forces of Israel behave in terms of how they move, well, I'm sorry guys, this is really downright third-rate military. So, and they don't, well, what can I say? It is what it is. Now, we go to things which are even more important in this respect for the United States. We have Politica, and as you can see yourself 2 days ago, and you know what, it's just ridiculous. They write foreign affairs, whatever these morons who work for all those mainstream media, they talk about that Biden confronts the limits of his influence over Israel. Biden doesn't have influence over Israel. It's a lie. Israel has the influence over Biden, and Israel owns most of the US Congress. So, but, well, this American media, they don't know, crap from crapola, and obviously having no morals or integrity, they will write this garbage. And so they say that after a year of effort, the US may be unable to stop full-scale regional war. US is not only will not be able to stop it, US still continues, or rather, the group of people who run the foreign policy of the United States, and these are primarily neocon and Israeli lobby, they want this war because obviously Netanyahu doesn't want to go to jail. So if he destroys Israel in the process, which is the most likely outcome now, so well, looks like, well, at least he will not get to jail. So, and as they say that in Politico, President Joe Biden and his senior aides have urged Israel to avoid direct attacks on Iran nuclear facilities when it strikes back against Tehran. Oh yeah, good luck striking those nuclear facilities, which will amount to actually terrorism. And believe me, Iran is not bluffing when it says that the response will be devastating. if they try to do that. They may try to do something about the oil facilities, but then again, that immediately closes the Hormuz Strait. So good luck with that either. So what I want to say, just listen to what especially Larry has to say, and me with Anya's podcast, which we did again about half an hour ago. So we talk a lot about this. Now, let's go to things where the fate of the United States is not being, it is decided. And let's start with some things which many people do not understand what is going on when I will show you the data on Kursk. It is horrifying. And when you look at this, it's just the losses of the armed forces of Ukraine in the Kursk region exceeded 20,000 people. Specifically, as the Russian defense minister says, and again, these are conservative numbers, the enemy lost more than 2,200 servicemen, 135 tanks, 66 infantry fighting vehicles, 98 armored personnel carriers, 870 armored combat vehicles, 580 cars, 165 artillery pieces, 33 multiple launch rocket systems. The department said in a summary today, as you can see yourself, it is the 4th of October. This is that what it means. It's 2 divisions are wiped out in the Kursk region, and the slaughter continues. And just to demonstrate to you what it drives to those people, well, what can I say? The White Book, if you go to the Russian Minister of the Foreign Affairs, there is the section there specifically dedicated to the white books. And white books obviously is the record of some things, especially like crimes, and there are all kinds of the white books. The white book on the crimes, war crimes and the crimes against humanity by the West against Russian people, both in the Eldoner or Lugansk, Donetsk, and Kherson and Zaporozhye area. But here are some new, which are actually, it's not the only case. Here's the news that things yesterday, militants of the armed forces of Ukraine raped a woman and cut off her head, a resident of Suja said. And so that's the type of the activities which are all those, wanted, Western military people do. This is everything you need to know about them. Here he explains in more detail, according to Miroshnik. Miroshnik is the Russian ambassador for the human rights in the area. They took out everything they could. It is very difficult to survive this. The guy who delivers this basically evidence. According to Miroshnik, these testimonies are now being checked by main military investigation department. And the diplomat noted that the people the man is talking about are in the status of missing. And so there are all kinds of civilians which cannot leave those areas. I don't think so the number is that great, and in some sense those people should have heeded their warning and call actually to evacuate. Well, but still, so basically what they do, those people from NATO, and these are especially, as they said already, Poles and Georgians are especially cruel. But, I mean, you also know the French are absolutely insane in this respect. They are really good. They are not good at fighting real wars. They surrender immediately. But they are good at killing civilians, raping them, or torturing Russian POWs. There are plenty of evidence around this on the internet, and you are free to go and check it out. It's not pleasant viewing, believe me, but it is what it is. This is what they do. And as a result, for example, we have a very special statement today by none other than Mr. Bortnikov, who is the director of the FSB, Federal Security Service. And this is what he speaks, being in Astana. Bortnikov. NATO participates in the preparation of operations of the armed forces of Ukraine along the entire line of battle. The direct participation of NATO military personnel in the planning and preparation of operations of the armed forces of Ukraine along the entire length of the line of contact indicates the West focus on expanding and increasing the intensity of hostilities, said Alexander Bortnikov. So there you go. What does it mean? This merely Bortnikov statement merely buttresses basically my point, which I make constantly. Because judging by the way how they plan and prepare, which we know they prepared, tactical and even operational level, they are not good. They are really not good. The only advantage, for example, average American general or planner from Pentagon has is because he doesn't care about the death of those people of Ukrainian soldiers whom they consider subhumans. And that's why they plan the way they plan. But the problem is they cannot do anything better than that. Most of the wars they fought were the counterinsurgency. Even those they lost, as we all know. And they beat the crap out of the third-rate Arab army in 1991 and Gulf War after a comfortable half-year preparation and pre-deployment and softening whatever is the American Civil War air defense from 1861 Iraq had. So other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it. They're the level of the military competence. They are not even close to the level, for example, of main operational directorate of the Russian General Staff. The fact is, their general staff's a joke. Look at all those people from London or Pentagon who plan catastrophe after catastrophe. And of course, we have the situation as, Ugledar is now, yeah, it's fell. And again, it was the fortress. That is why it fell, because it was built into fortress for 8 years. Now, if we go further and take a look at today's harvest, so to speak, it is horrifying, but yeah, as you can see yourself, this is October 3. Again, consistently above 2,000 a day, and again, those are primarily killed because, especially considering the level of the medical support for so-called sanitary losses, I mean, many of them die in hospitals. And as you can see yourself, this is another thing about all those, masturbators on Israel from U.S. media who say, oh yeah, they shot down something like 150 drones. Okay, well, here it is. Russians shot down 144 drones for yesterday only, so not biggie. When you have good air defense, yeah, you may get one or two through, but if it amounts to less than the decimal point in percentage points. So there you go. You can see yourself, those numbers. Russians don't run there, proclaiming how great they are. They just do it, So, and there is another thing, which is, of course, we have to understand if you take a look at, for example, our good friend Marat Khairulin. We already know about Ugledar, and I already stated when I was talking to Anya and Larry today that all those talks about that, oh yeah, Israelis attacked Russian base and Khmeimim or Tartus and things of this nature. No. This is primarily psyop by GUR, SBU, by Ukrainians and their curators from MI6 or CIA, because they need to counter the catastrophe at Ugledar, and because of that they create all those fake stories, because people evidently do not understand that Israel was attacking Syrian targets for years now. And yes, some of them happen to be within some areas, ranges from Khmeimim Air Base or Tartus. So Israel is not going to attack Russian base because they know, in this case, Nevatim base will cease to exist as such. But, you know what, people need to, put away attention, as Larry correctly stated today, first from the genocide which continues in Gaza, and of course they need to take away from especially those, voters for Democrats, to the catastrophe on the front, and fall of Ugledar, and what we have today. Here's our good friend Marat Khairulin. Russians are deep in Terezk now, as you can see yourself. It's and line is moving. You see there, this dotted red line, which is line of contact, it moves again by kilometers. Russians are deep in Terezk, essentially controlling most of it, as you can see yourself. And yeah, they took Leonidovka, and they're taking every day village after village, town after town. Here is the Svatova, Svatova operational access. And again, make no mistakes, Russians are fighting for the what is called the strongholds, and essentially, well, using Hitler's or German usage, Festungs, those fortresses. These are all fortified areas. They have been fortified for years. But guess what? As you can see yourself also, Makiivka, one of its smaller Makiivka, there is another Makiivka which is next to Donetsk, is taken. Nevskaya is Russians fighting there. So, and as you can see yourself, bunch of the Ukrainian defenses are actually back to the river or any kind of the body of water, which is basically a suicide. And so, yeah, you can see yourself what is happening today. It's, I believe, yeah, it's the 4th of October. The whole front is in the move. And while this all is happening, well, we have Mr. Lecornu. So Mr. Lecornu is, of course, he's a former gendarme. Gendarmerie is, well, this is the force which cooperated with Germans immediately and surrendered to them. That's pretty much their combat record, if you wish, but it's actually nothing more than armed police. So, but he's a lieutenant, was lieutenant in it, but now he is the Minister for War and Defense. So, France names Russia as greatest threat. Moscow has been increasingly aggressive on the world stage, Defense Minister Sebastian Lecornu claimed. And so it is said, you know, and he accuses Russia that, you know, of waging an information war and militarizing new environments, including the seabed and cyberspace. Well, hello, Mr. Lecornu, if you're defense minister, then you have to know that Russia, well, views France as the enemy. Because you are arming the goddamn Nazi regime. And your basically so-called volunteers, primarily from the Foreign Legion, they proved themselves good only at raping, killing, and, you know what, torturing civilians or POWs. That is the level of the French military. This is who they are. Remove the freaking French nuclear deterrent on the 4 Triomphant class strategic missile submarines. France is a chihuahua. Except for the, you know, European consortiums, which helped, you know, to, because it's obviously joint effort like Airbus and Saint Nazaire. Well, yeah, you produce a crappy, overpriced, what's his, Arnaud so-called industries. They sell the all crappy, overpriced so-called luxury items, and they are the largest company in the world, evidently, or in Europe at least. Well, yeah, there, go sell your freaking, you know, bags and colognes, and no, don't touch colognes, sell colognes. I'm okay with colognes. I use them myself, so they are good. But the rest of it is corrupt, including those wines. Wines are just, yeah, so garbage. And here you have this guy. But then, of course, not to be outdone, you have the other guy. Oh my God. And you know this guy, and he says that EU could die, Macron, no less, and the bloc is falling behind US and China due to overregulation. Macron obviously being a teller boy and having zero experience in life, never held a job, real job in his life, and is not educated really, as for example you see yourself, there is a segment of Mr. Draghi basically agonizing about the fact that they don't know reality, they don't know nothing, they are bankers, that's who they are, they have no clue about the real world. But according to Macron, the 27 nation bloc is falling behind Washington and Beijing, both having outstripped the EU in economic output and investment. The question is not that EU could die, EU will die. And Macron, I mean, he's sneaky guy, obviously. He's not very bright, believe me. What is today accepted as the criteria of being bright in the West is primarily by being a sociopath capable to manipulate with people. This is not bright. This is, you know, basically capable of ruse, you know, foxy, being fox, you know, in this respect, not in terms of their appearances. So, but that's about it. Being sneaky, it doesn't make one bright. And so Macron now just waking up to the reality that essentially, especially after the 30th of October, after Kazan BRICS summit, Europe is relegated to the nothing more than this small peninsula of the gigantic Eurasian land mass, which economically dwarfs combined West. It really dwarfs. And yeah, EU is that essentially, and well, so is Europe, as we know, is not there anymore. Which of course brings us to the very interesting situation with Deputy Secretary of the State Kurt Campbell, who's speaking to Carnegie Endowment 3 days ago. You can look it up. Suddenly says that not only that he admits what you can hear yourself.
I will underscore just directly that we are, by far and away the largest provider of assistance to Ukraine. Much of that has been delivered on a timely basis, and we've helped with training and the like. Ultimately, I think there is a recognition that some of this is going to have to be dealt with at the negotiating table. And the hope will be that at some point in the not too distant future, we will find ourselves in a way that some kind of diplomatic engagement.
But he says that, oh my God, we have been absolutely stupefied by the ability of Russia. You can watch the whole program of being such a huge monster, military industry and all those industries. I want to tell only one thing here. Throw away your Russia specialist like this clown. So you read this thing. Even this clown, the guy is a foreign agent. He has a degree in nothing. Economic degree is not serious education. And he talks about that Russia is rich and what happens and why Russians are not, riding. Well, because they don't understand it, including those so-called dissidents who basically pour the garbage into the ears of the so-called, specialists in the United States. They tell them, they're very sneaky. They get some CIA case officer and they pour this garbage into their ears about that Putin is, he is sick. 90% of Russians hate Putin and are about to revolt. And some idiots in State Department and in CIA believe that Russia is poor. My God, Washington and New York look at the freaking crap holes comparing to the most of the Russian large cities. But they don't understand it. They don't get it. And here you have one of those dissidents. Even this moron, he actually has to admit what is going on. Well, what can I say? World is a strange place today. And you know what? This is the only thing which I have to tell you in this particular case, because what can I say? I'm trying to keep you, so to speak, afloat, if you wish, informationally as much as I can. I sometimes myself lost in this incredible stream of the information because we live in the historic moment of the remaking of the world order and multipolarity already being the fait accompli. Or fait accompli, as some will say. It happened. It's already here. Now it's just the matter of how the rest of the West will be removed as the dominant force from the world stage and will be relegated to the place where it belongs, one of the smallest centers of power. And whatever they do there, hey, one of the Scottish guys actually married his bicycle. I'm not kidding you. You can look it up in the in the news. So let them marry bicycles. Hey, they wanted it. Now they deserve it. And this is what I wanted to tell you guys today on this Friday, and to give you some thought for the weekend. And as always, in the end, guys, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, and those who can afford, please support me on Patreon and buy me a coffee or two. And that will be it for today. And I'm finally going to Casca. I had it with my old chair. I'm buying the new one. Well, have a nice weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.